Good evening. The regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Spring Independent School District is officially called to order on Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. The time is now 7:00 p.m. Board of Trustees present are Trustee Adams, Trustee Correa, Trustee Hodges, Trustee Durant, Trustee Jensen, and Trustee Newhouse. I would like to ask everyone to turn off or silence their cell phones and all electronic devices. And that includes me. At this time, I'd like to ask Trustee Adams to begin the meeting as the chair of our equity committee, reading the Spring ISD equity statement.
Thank you, President Durant. Spring Independent School District strongly believes in educational and racial equity as fundamental aspects of its core mission and purpose, embodied through any program, practice, decision, or action that affects all students, with a strategic focus on those choices and policies that most strongly impact marginalized students. We believe all students, regardless of their ability, cognitive, physical, or social emotional, ethnicity, language, race, religion, gender identity, and status, should have equitable access to opportunities, resources, support systems, and educational rigor in order to maximize their academic success and social emotional well-being. We believe that every Spring Independent School District student is valuable and possesses individual strengths and characteristics that make our district a great place to learn and grow. Moreover, we seek to act on that belief, instituting policies and practices that value diversity, committing ourselves as a district to continued growth and development, and working to support the success of every student in all that we do.
Thank you, Trustee Adams. Tonight's presentation of colors will be led by the award-winning Spring Naval JROTC. Commanding the color guard and carrying the United States flag is Cadet Commander Caleb Ward. Carrying the Texas flag is Cadet Master Chief Petty Officer Noah O'Neill. The United States Rifle Guard is Cadet Lieutenant Commander Jordan Aiden. The Texas Rifle Guard is Cadet Captain Carolyn Benny. Leading the pledges tonight is Cadet Lieutenant Junior Grade Cassidy Lynn. And the Spring Naval JROTC program is under the direction of Master Chief Mark Clark. At this time, will everyone please rise for the presentation of the colors?
Ready, face, post the colors, forward, march. Ready, face.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Ready, post. Ready, face, forward, march. Outbound. Face. Right. Face. Forward. March. Left. 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 Right. Right. Right.
Excellent. If everyone can please remain standing for a moment of silence to be used in your own way. Thank you. You may be seated. Our next item is the superintendent's remarks. We will now hear from our super proud superintendent, Dr. Lafita Hinojosa.
Thank you, President Durant, members of the board, those of you that are here with us in person, and then those of you that are online watching us. We do have a lot of great updates, lots of great things that have been happening in Spring ISD. First and foremost, I want to start out by celebrating our college night that happened last week on Thursday night. It was at Carl Winchie Senior High School. I do see Dr. James here. Thank you, Dr. James, for hosting us. We had representatives from over 100 colleges and universities at hand. Yes, it was amazing, amazing. To talk to our high school seniors and their parents about admissions and the assessment information. In addition, and one of the areas that we are really focusing on is making sure that we're providing information to assist our students with disabilities. And so we had a number of agencies that were at hand to assist with disability services as well as community resources. Many of our community colleges as well as universities provide support for these students. And so we're making an effort not only to bring that information, but also to provide information on scholarships for our students. Each year, this event brings a wealth of information to our families shopping for higher education choices, and it answers a lot of questions that they have around financial aid, admissions process, and scholarship information. So again, just a big thank you to Winchie Senior High School, our college and career readiness staff, our CTE staff, our family and community engagement staff, everyone working collaboratively to make this event possible. I also want to welcome our ACE committee. As you know, our ACE committee is the Advisory Committee on Education that we form every year. The committee is made up of members from the campus. It can be classroom teachers, other professionals, as well as parents, community members, and business partners. And so we've started our year off. And again, every year, this committee helps advise the superintendent, give us guidance on the work that we will do. And so great gratitude for this committee spending time with us each month. They are focusing already, we've formed a committee to look at our calendar for this coming school year. That's a big piece that this specific committee works on. As well as this past year, they advised us on our strategic plan. Every student, every teacher, every day. They were a big part in that development. And so moving forward, they will continue to work with us. Another big piece is the budget process, as well as curriculum and professional development. So we've hit the ground running, and we are off and ready for an amazing year. Now, for everyone listening out there, I want to let you know that we are hosting in Spring ISD for the very first time ever, the UIL Region 33 Marching Contest at Planet Ford Stadium this Saturday. So come on, this is The facilities are so important. And because of our bond 2016, we were able to build Planet Ford Stadium, now affording us the opportunity to finally be able to host this competition. It's about having the place, the facilities that will support this. And so we want to invite everyone to come out and cheer on our schools and enjoy the performances from across our region. We will be hosting 19 schools from 6 different school districts. The competition runs from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, and we're looking forward to everyone coming out and supporting our students this weekend. Next, just a quick update on our bond informational meetings. Last night, we hosted our first Zoom meeting where participants were able to log in, experience the same presentation that we've done face-to-face, and also ask questions. Coming to these bond meetings, it's a great opportunity for everyone to learn more about our Spring ISD Bond 2022. And we have 3 more in-person meetings. You know, sometimes people just want to come and sit and talk through. So we have 3 more. Clawton will be this Thursday. Then we will round off with Wells and Robertson Middle School. And then finally, brand new this year, coming on Friday, October 21st at 11:30. Now that's during the day. Hopefully that's during your lunch break that you can join us on Facebook Live. And so we will be going live to talk about our Bond 2022. We want you to get online with us. You know, we want to see all those little hearts coming up on social media as we talk through our bond. And you'll be able to, once again, ask questions and get clarity on our bond. Do want to remind everyone that early voting starts Monday, October 24th, all the way through November 4th. And then, of course, the election is on November 8th. And so also very important, Mr. Miranda pointed this out last night, that the Spring ISD bond, the 3 propositions are at the very end of the ballot. So don't get tired. This is a major election. There's lots of people running. So make sure you make it all the way through the end so you can locate our 3 propositions. Now, big shout out to our Education Foundation, our Spring ISD Education Foundation, once again sponsoring the golf tournament. It will be Monday, October 24th. So mark your calendars. I know there's still time if you want to join, if you want to form your own group, you want to join a group, or you want to buy a hole, you can still do that. So it will be Monday, October 24th. As I said, we are actually starting earlier in the day at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it will be right down the street at Northgate Country Club. I have to tell you, I've supported for 7 years. This year, I'm going to be playing. So Miss Westbrooks and I will be joining a team, and I learned that I will be in a scramble. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that. That's when 4 of you play. Well, look, all the golfers are going, man, we already knew that. But it's when 4 of you play, and each one of you, have the opportunity to swing, and you get to choose the best one, right? So I'm hoping that Miss Westbrooks will do better than me. But I have to tell you, I've been out with Dekaney High School, and a big thank you to Top Golf. They allowed Dekaney High School to go and use the facilities for free and practice. That our team gets to practice there for free. I also was out with Westfield High School, and big shout out to Northgate Country Club. They also allow our team to use their facilities for free on Wednesday afternoon and on Saturdays. So great partnership. And I have to tell you, we've got some amazing golfers. Started out with just how do you hold the club? So I know Miss Westbrooks is like, oh my goodness, what did I get into? She doesn't even know how to hold the golf club, but I'm learning, and we've got an amazing teams out at our high schools. I really want everyone to support, and we really want to grow our program. So I will be out with Spring High School, and they will be the last coaches for me to try to save us so we can look okay out in the greens. And then also, I don't know if you all caught the news yesterday morning, Channel 2, the morning news. We actually had Kevin Trong, our Assistant Director of Child Nutrition, on, and it was a 5 minute and 30-second spot. So it was amazing. And we were the only district featured because this week is National School Lunch Week. And it was great to see Kevin out there talk about our program and the nutritious meals that we are providing. And so also follow us on Twitter, Child Nutrition Department. They'll show you how to do enchiladas. That's what they did yesterday online. So follow us on Twitter. You can see all the great meals that we have planned. And this National School Lunch Week was created back in 1962 to promote the importance of healthy school lunches in a child's life. And so please take a moment as you're visiting our campuses, our principals, our students that are here today, take time to thank our child nutrition team members that are out there every day serving us healthy breakfast, lunch, and even dinner at some of our campuses. And finally, tonight, I want to remind everyone that October is a special month for our principals. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has proclaimed October 2022 as Principal Month in Texas. And he did send a proclamation to all the districts. As that proclamation reads from Governor Abbott, each year, the month of October is set aside to honor our principals and to recognize the pivotal role they play in the lives of students, families, faculty, and staff. Their inexhaustible devotion helps to secure a better, brighter tomorrow by investing in the children of today. At this time, I encourage all Texans to learn more about the many contributions and accomplishments of elementary, middle, and high school principals across the state. Principals create cultures of excellence wherein students can achieve their full potential, thereby ensuring that Texas' future will be better and brighter. And as the super proud superintendent of Spring ISD, our principals give us so much to be proud of. And I hope that the Spring ISD community will join me, our board, this month in thanking our principals for all that they do. So I invite you to celebrate our campus principals by posting on social media with the hashtag #SuperProudPrincipals. And be sure to tag our district so we can share and reshare and retweet your great posts all month long. And with that, Ms. Durant, turn it over to you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. I want to also recognize that Trustee Natasha McDaniel is a little under the weather, but she is online via Zoom. Also, you talked about the bond, and I know in the past for early voting, you can vote anywhere. However, and we only used to have one location in our boundaries, but we now have 3. So can someone tell us what those 3 locations are? Mr. Miranda or no?
The 3 locations for early voting are Hosanna Lutheran Church, Big Stone Lodge. I'm looking at the communications team over here. And then lastly is Fallbrook Church.
All right, everybody, don't forget to get out and vote. So at this time, I'd like to ask any of my colleagues or trustees if they would like to make any remarks.
President Durant, I wanted to make some remarks about attending the Mexican American School Board Association with Trustee Carrera. And there were parts of it where there were legislators speaking or author speaking that we were together, but we split up so that we could cover all the different sessions. And I will say that this is the best event of MOSBA I've ever seen. They were very strategic about which presenters they invited, and they tightened up the program, and it was just superb. I just wanted to share a few of things that were highlights for me, or shockers sometimes. One is that if any of you remember Tiffany Dunn Upfield and Sylvia Wood, they were doing 2 presentations. And they did Talking Across the Divide, Lean on Unifying Messages. And they gave out a whole handbook of seeing how messages work so that you unify your community and don't have fighting and hostility. Another one was Josh Sanderson of the Equity Center on spending. And he says Texas has a $27 billion surplus this year coming up. And that was a jaw dropper for me. And he gave an amazing session on how important equity is in funding. We're talking about rural districts, urban districts, urban different populations in urban districts. And anyway, it was very interesting. Another one that I was really interested in was a few years ago, there was a very active nonpartisan group that successfully went to legislators and got them to reduce the number of end of course tests, which was, I thought, a positive thing for Texas education. Well, I got to go to a session with the lady who had set the organization up and made it, and found out how she works. So her name was Laura Yeager. And then my last thing I'd like to say is we got to hear from Representative Gary Van Dever, who's a Republican in the Texas legislature, and Senator Jose Menendez, who's a Democrat. And they were talking about how they work together on some issues, and some issues they disagree on. But Gary Van Dever had a funny quote that I thought, well, but it's true. He says, "We don't fix anything. We just send you money and hope you fix it."
Trustee Adams?
Thank you, President Durant. I have a bunch of things that I wanted to say, but I don't want to hog all our time and have us here late. So I'm going to focus on the performing and visual arts in spring. We just saw a performance by the Springfield High School Lion Players Theater Company under the direction of Miss Marilyn Acker. And earlier this week, I attended some Hispanic Heritage Month programs, and at Meyer Elementary, they did basically the students did performances, pre-K through 5th grade. They did performances, and the talent in the children in this district is phenomenal. And we saw that with the young actresses here this evening. And I just want to make sure that the community knows that we need to nurture and promote that talent. There's a little girl that sang, a 5th grader. And the question I had for Miss Dawkins was, what do we do to make sure that that talent gets picked up when she moves on to middle school? And then the talented middle school kids, what are we doing to make sure that the teachers that are waiting for them know that these children are coming, whatever their talent is? And so saying that in line with the exciting news about the UIL competition, my daughter's in the Westfield High School band, and she's really excited about the show they're going to perform. We as a district have tried to be and endeavored to be a district of choice as it relates to all things, but I am especially proud of our performing and visual arts efforts throughout the district. So I just wanted to put that plug in and then close my mouth.
I was just going to say, and a shout out to Joe Clark, who leads our PA division, if he'll stand for a moment. All right. Trustee Correa.
I'll be very brief because Debbie did a really good job of kind of summarizing. One of the main things that I picked up at the MASBA conference also was just the push for advocacy. And that's something that we're seeing in a lot of the conferences. And so, some of the notes that Van Dever and Menendez, the representatives, kind of gave to us was they kind of give this speech about what not to do when you're advocating. But basically just know who your people are. Don't assume somebody's stance. And the thing that I found interesting was the comment that he made about the differences in the parties. You have your head folks at the extreme ends of each of the parties, but the majority of the folks down doing the groundwork are actually a lot more bipartisan than even I kind of understood. So that was a little eye-opening, and just kind of wanted to share that for anyone else who might think the same way. I also got to participate or attended a class about SPED identification. There was some really, really interesting statistics there that I'll definitely share later on. And then the last thing, I also got to attend a class with Tiffany. And one of the things, and it was about reputation management. And she had this wonderful formula in there that I wanted to share. And I think that we're doing a really good job following that formula. It was do good, share the good, manage the threats, and that basically equals your district reputation. And I think we're doing a really, really good job of that. So shout out to the communications people, the boots on the ground with the teachers, and everybody that's involved, because it's definitely a joint effect. It's not just one department. So kudos to everyone for doing a great job on that. And with that, that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Last night during the bond committee, we saw a video that is narrated by two of our young scholars here in Spring ISD. And so at this time, Mr. Miranda is going to play that video for us.
That's great. Just give me 1 second to cue it up. Sure did.
Actually put him on the spot, guys. He wasn't expecting that.
Here we go.
6 years ago, I told you about a bond that the Spring ISD community voted to approve. That 2016 bond built new schools, renovated some of our existing schools, and expanded full-day pre-K to all of our elementary schools across the district. We were also able to build a brand new sports stadium and a new police command center too. The district delivered everything it promised. It also brought new technology to our schools, technology that came in super handy during the COVID-19 pandemic when everyone was learning from home. Now I'm a junior in high school, and I want our district to be able to provide the necessary facilities for the students of Spring ISD. So, we are bringing a new bond to you voters in this November election. And to tell you about that, I'm handing the microphone over to a younger Spring ISD student so she can talk about what's coming up.
In case you didn't know, Texas school districts only receive funding for daily operations. That means things like new building safety improvements and important technology have to be funded by a voter-approved bond. So Spring asked a lot of our community members from all across our district to come together to evaluate what was needed and what we could afford. They met some more, and prioritized the district's biggest needs. Then they met with the school board and presented their findings. I spoke to the board about it too, and guess what? The trustees unanimously agreed to ask you voters about this in the upcoming November elections. The Spring ISD 2022 bond would rebuild Spring High School. The school may look all right when you zip by it on the freeway at 60 miles an hour, but our bond steering committee recommended a plan that would replace the aging building and also refresh Westfield High School and some of our elementary schools that could use a little love. With the 2022 bond, the district would also purchase new school buses and provide improvements for safety and security at our schools. The district is always working to improve safety for us students. Speaking of safety, did you know that if we have to evacuate one of our campuses in an emergency, we don't have any building large enough to house those students and safely reunite them with their parents? A new 5,000-seat education and performance center would solve that problem and provide a safe indoor space for UIL, STEM, CTE, performing arts, and athletic events. Not only that, but it would host other events like our larger graduation ceremonies that we currently have outside. And we know how hot it gets in the summertime. Another part of the 2022 bond would bring improvements to the technology in our district. Those computers that we got from the previous bond, they're now 6 years old. In computer years, they may be 6, but in human years, they're looking forward to retirement. Like I said, our school board listened closely to the whole proposal and asked some important questions. Then they unanimously approved the recommendation and added it to the November 2022 ballot. The proposed $850 million bond is estimated to require a property tax increase of 5 cents per $100 of valuation, which is expected to be offset by an anticipated decrease in the 2022 tax rate. Therefore, the resulting tax rate should be the same or lower than the current rate. And homeowners over the age of 65 don't need to worry because they will see absolutely no tax impact as a result of the bond. The Spring ISD 2022 bond will be on the ballot. You can participate in early voting or come out to vote on election day on November 8th. For more information, visit springisd.org/bond.
Thank you, Chief Miranda. Great job. So our next item is our Points of Pride recognition. So I would ask Dr. Hinojosa and the board to join me in the horseshoe as we have 4 exciting recommendations or recognitions.
President Durant, members of the board and superintendent. I stand here very excited to bring forth our celebratory moment and celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. At this time, I'm going to call forward our LOTE manager, Diana Fernandez-Sullivan, who is going to come and talk a little bit about what we've done throughout this incredible month and also bring celebrations to our incredibly talented scholars. So with that being said, Diana.
Good evening. What an honor it is to be here tonight to address you. Our Hispanic Heritage Month celebration was a huge success. We had 23 participating elementary schools. We had all middle schools participate and all 3 comprehensive high schools participate. As you can see, the artwork is displayed in the hallway and it will be for some time so you can admire and enjoy. Tonight, I wanted to share that we have 2 young ladies here that will quickly share their little poems that they wrote. I really want to take a moment to thank you all for the support that you give us. None of what we do would be possible without your support. The Hispanic Heritage Month contest is a National Hispanic Heritage Month contest. It goes from September 15th to October 15th, and it's celebrating histories and culture and all the beautiful contributions that American Hispanics give to our communities. Many people do not know that the Hispanic heritage is comprised of people from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. And so I am a proud first generation American born Cuban Colombian. And so for me, I have a very, very strong passion. I spoke only Spanish when I was little, and I had to learn way back then, they did not have the programs that Spring has in place for our children. And so I'm very thankful for that. So tonight, I get to introduce our accomplished students so that they can share their talents, their passions, and their thoughts about the Hispanic culture. So here we go. Through your dedication to equity, we know you value the gifts that our diverse Hispanic community brings to our district. Parents, I also want to recognize you because without your support, these children would possibly not have been here tonight. So thank you, parents. I have the honor to introduce our students this evening. Our very first reader is Ms. Nehemiah Borgwing, and she's from Booker. She will share her first place poem from a winner from the elementary level 3 through 5 writing category entitled Inclusividad, creando una nación más fuerte. Inclusivity, creating a stronger nation.
Inclusividad, creando una nación más fuerte. En Latinoamérica tenemos a República Dominicana, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Cuba, El Salvador, Argentina, México, Costa Rica, Panamá, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Perú, Chile, Honduras y mucho más. Cada uno de estos países pertenecen a Latinoamérica, pero unos de estos países son del Caribe, como República Dominicana, Puerto Rico y Cuba. A Estados Unidos llegan personas de toda Latinoamérica. Muchas de esas personas que vienen a formar parte de esta nación hacen que sea una más fuerte con sus actos productivos. Les contaré algunas de las personas que conozco personalmente. Aliangi es de Venezuela. Aliangi es la niña más amable del mundo. Ella hizo mi vida feliz. Cuando yo estaba triste, ella me consolaba. Cuando nadie se acordaba de mis cumpleaños, ella se acordaba. Ella también era muy divertida. Adnelis vino de República Dominicana. Tuve muy larga amistad con ella. Hacía cosas para cambiar el mundo. Ella era súper divertida y alegre. Ella cambió mi vida. Para los demás yo era una carga, pero para ella yo no era eso. Ella me hacía sentir feliz. Miel vino de México, muy inteligente y tan dulce como la miel. Ella es especial. Cambia el mundo siendo amable con los demás. Un día yo estaba en el pasillo y casi me caigo y ella me salvó de tener una herida en la cabeza. Olivia vino de El Salvador. Ella me ayudó cuando yo lo necesitaba. Éramos muy compatibles y ella ayudaba a los demás. Cuando los demás tenían problemas con la computadora, ella amablemente les brindaba su ayuda. Nota. Todas estas niñas han hecho buenas cosas que ayudan a que este sea un mundo mejor. En el escudo de América tenemos 13 flechas que significa deseo de paz. Y esto es lo que mis amigas han traído a esta gran nación.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we'd like to say congratulations on your first place win.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight, and you look beautiful.
Thank you.
And your courage to get up and speak in front of everybody. You did a great job. And so we want to say thank you. We want to have an opportunity for you to walk around the horseshoe and get to shake hands and say hello to all of the board members tonight. And if your mom, she's videoing, so she wants to wave her hands so we can recognize your family. We also want to get a picture with you, so you can go right ahead and say hello to the rest of the board so they can meet you too. Okay. Mr. Taylor? Yeah. I call you a couple words. All right, come on and take a photo with me. Oh, okay.
Squeeze in. Squeeze in. All right, you ready? I want that.
And our last student for the evening is Miss Kendra Perez from Carl Wunschie Senior High School. And she will share with us today her first place poem in the secondary 9 through 12 writing category entitled Yo también soy hispanohablante. I too am a Spanish speaker.
Yo también soy hispanohablante. Aunque muchos se olviden de nosotros, no queremos que se olviden de nuestros rostros. Es por eso que hoy nos presentamos a ti, para que conozcas la diversidad de tu comunidad hispana y los diferentes países que son parte de tu familia cercana. Yo soy Bolivia y la más indígena entre mi familia. A mis cholitas voladoras encontrarás volando en el aire. Con sus vestidos son como pétalos de flores que descienden en un baile. Yo soy Nicaragua. Calles sin nombre y tiburones en aguas dulces encuentras aquí. Tan cautivante es esto que es ver como un hermoso rubí. Yo soy Chile. Tal vez me conozcas como el lugar donde salió por primera vez aquel sábado gigante que vistes desde tu niñez. O tal vez me conozcas por mis sabrosos mariscos. Mejores que ellos no has probado y esto te lo garantizo. Yo soy Costa Rica. Y además de ser un país muy turístico, también soy el país más pacífico. Aunque me entristece demasiado decir, pero otoño y primavera nunca verás venir. Aunque somos diferentes países, seguimos teniendo las mismas raíces. Así como hermanos, nuestra sangre es individual y única en el mundo, pero no nos olvidamos de que nuestra sangre hispana tiene un significado profundo. Unidos somos más fuertes, y al ser incluidos todos, nos convertimos en una nación más unida y fuerte.
Congratulations. I'm going to ask Dr. Hinojosa if she'd like to come make a couple of remarks and maybe translate a little bit for us.
Thank you. Felicidades, mijita. El poema, ¿verdad? De todas las naciones nos toca a todos nosotros, ¿verdad? Y con toda la mesa directiva que está aquí, ¿verdad? Apoyando el mes de la hispanidad, pero más importante, apoyando a los estudiantes. Felicidades. So I was saying our board is here, not only supporting Hispanic Heritage Month, but most importantly, supporting all of our students that come from so many different Latin American countries that are celebrating their Independence Day. Felicidades. Okay, pásale, hijita, y vamos a felicitar.
You go ahead and recognize so the rest of the board can recognize you. And then we'd like to know if you have any family here tonight. Your mom's here, you want to stand up? You wanna come up, Mom? She said no.
Venga con el director, véngase. Queremos felicitarla. I said,
And we also have our principal. It's Sheila.
Can everybody see me? One, two,
Okay, who's next?
That'll be me. All right, so President Durant, members of the board, over the past couple of years since the start of the pandemic, we've talked a lot about the amazing work that some of our Spring ISD bus drivers do. And we've also talked about some of the challenges that they face and how indebted we all are to them for the incredible ways that they serve our students every day. However, we don't often get the chance to invite one of our drivers to the board meeting to offer our thanks in person for their service. Tonight, the district would like to recognize Spring ISD transportation driver Natasha Miller. If she could come up, please. We want to recognize Natasha Miller for her actions on August 25th, 2022, when her courageous response helped ensure the safety of the students on her bus during a potentially dangerous incident. In responding to an angry community member whose actions and demeanor threatened the students on her bus, Ms. Miller more than rose to the occasion. She put herself in potential harm's way and successfully de-escalated the situation, kept her cool despite finding herself in the middle of a very tense and stressful ordeal. Even after the immediate threat was passed, she went right on doing the right thing, proceeding to inform transportation dispatch of the incident and later assisting the Spring ISD Police Department in completing its investigation of the incident. Ms. Miller truly went above and beyond the call of duty to protect the children on her bus. Her response was student-focused, and her actions exemplify her commitment to her students and the Spring ISD community. We are grateful for her dedication on behalf of those entrusted to her care, and it gives me great pleasure this evening to help present Natasha Miller with the Spring ISD Above and Beyond the Call of Duty Award.
Miller, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I am honored to present you with this award tonight, above and beyond the courage and the dedication. Thank you. To support and keep our kids safe. It's very appreciated, and we just want to thank you. Thank you. And the rest of the board would like an opportunity to greet you tonight. I don't know if you have anyone you want to recognize here with you. Miss Sampson. All right, Miss Sampson, come on. She wants you to come on. Yes, ma'am. Come on. Okay. And thank you so much. So now you go ahead and greet the rest of the board.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
This is Miss Lillian Sampson. She is one of our managers. Your official title is the Transportation Administrator for Regular Ed.
It takes a very special person to look past their own fear and their own well-being to look after our students. And we're very grateful for that. Thank you.
So we have two more. So this evening, I'm super excited to share with you some great news. So we're spotlighting McNabb Elementary on September the 29th. The Good Reason Houston organization was spotlighting schools across the Houston area, and we are so lucky to have one of our schools spotlighted. Good Reason Houston was spotlighting schools that had a rating of A and B in domain 1 and or A and B in their overall rating. Under the leadership of Melissa Warford, her teachers, her team, her students, and the McNabb community achieved an A rating from the Texas Education Agency for the past 2 years. Yeah. Tonight, Ms. Warford is not here, but I do have Ms. Ken Fontenot, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, which is here to be recognized.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be, I'm coming as your super proud assistant superintendent. Yes, Ms. Warford couldn't be here, but I'd be remiss not to celebrate her accomplishments that she celebrates and brings to attention to our district as a regional recognition among many schools. And we, Dr. Hinojosa, Dr. Perez, all of us were able to go to Post Houston and sit among the stars. All of the school different districts who had people who had created this achievement. So it's my privilege to be able to recognize her work. I see commitment, flexibility, but more important, I see teamwork across the whole entire campus, that everyone takes ownership for the excellence on this campus. So to Ms. Warford, who I know is listening, she's listening to me, I say, your work is valued, your recognition is phenomenal, and thank you for shining the light on our district in this way. You are well appreciated, and it's my privilege to be able to serve this campus. Thank you all so much. Oh, okay, I will.
We also want to say congratulations and thanks for being that beacon to represent the great work that's being done here in Spring ISD and specifically at McNabb. Congratulations. Thank you. We honor you and we appreciate you.
Ms. Warford is online tonight as an attendee watching the meeting, so.
She is with us online, so she can see us, and we want to again just say how much we appreciate your hard work and dedication, especially in an unprecedented time. You know, she's been able to achieve this through a pandemic, a winter storm, hurricanes, and still, despite all of those obstacles, you know, we've continued to shine at McNabb. So amazing work. Oh, no, but maybe we can get one with her at another time. Yeah.
So Ms. Durant and members of the board, those that are on Zoom and those that are here tonight, I have the great honor to present a spotlight. I want to tell you a little bit about this spotlight. Following the tragic events at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas on May 24th, 2022, the Texas Police Chiefs Association, TPCA, was asked to participate in a number of panels assembled by the state legislatures. TPCA members provided testimony in both the Senate and the House on a wide range of topics, especially on the measures needed to keep schools and students safe. For House testimony on June 23rd, TPCA was asked to assemble a group of police chiefs, including representatives from school district, police departments. Spring ISD Police Chief Ken Colbreth was asked if he would participate, and he readily agreed to take part and share his expertise with the legislatures regarding school safety and the important role police departments can play in ensuring it. The comments below are from the letter sent to me, the superintendent of Spring ISD, by the current TPCA president and North Richland Hills Police Department Chief Jimmy Perdue. During the testimony, each chief was allowed to give a brief statement on their perspective about Uvalde and what measures the state legislatures should be looking at for the upcoming session. Chief Ken was very articulate in his message and represented both Spring ISD and the ISD police chiefs as a whole very well. He was called upon several times during our almost 4 hours of testimony to answer specific questions or comments made by the representatives. Each time, he was able to speak directly to their concerns or issues and provide them with an answer or at least an excellent commentary. I was very proud to have Chief Ken as part of our group, and I am grateful for his willingness to allow him to participate in these proceedings. At this time, when school safety is of utmost importance to families in Spring ISD and elsewhere, the district is grateful to have Chief Ken Colbreth dedicated leadership, his professional expertise, and his generous spirit in support of our Spring ISD Police Department and all that it serves. It's with great honor that we want to recognize our Chief of Police, Ken Colbreth.
Thank you, Chief. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we want to say thank you for your hard work and dedication and representing us so well. Thank you. And our rest of the board would like to recognize you as well. Yeah. I'm definitely exactly. Again, congratulations. That's the last one. Yes. I'd like to say thank you, congratulations again to everyone. Our next item is agenda participation. This item allows members of the public an opportunity to speak on agenda items before those items are considered by the board. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone registered to speak under agenda participation?
No, Madam President, not under our agenda participation.
Thank you.
Well, next we have public participation of our meeting. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone registered to speak under public participation?
Yes, Madam President, Jenny Brown Daniel has registered to speak under public participation. And as Ms. Brown Daniel makes her way to the podium, I'm going to read a short few paragraphs. The board invites interested citizens to address the board on any subject that they desire other than allegations concerning the character or capability of any board member, staff member, citizen, or student of the district. The board provides an opportunity on the agenda for citizens to address the board, and we welcome your participation. The board will listen and will not interrupt unless the person addressing the board infringes on the guidelines as stated previously or exceeds the time limit authorized for the presentation. In this case, each of you will have 3 minutes to present. Mr. Sheffer will keep time, which will be displayed on the monitors, on the very large monitors. According to law, the board may not take action on any item that is not on the agenda. The board will not debate nor respond to any question during the meeting. In order to research the question thoroughly before replying, the board will seriously consider the matter brought to its attention and respond appropriately. Also, according to law, it is a criminal offense for a person to obstruct, prevent, interfere with, or disrupt a lawfully called meeting through physical action or verbal utterance. Citizens are requested to supplement any oral address to the board with a written summary of their presentation and any recommendations they may wish to suggest. Thank you for your concern regarding our school district, and we will hear you now.
Good evening, Ms. Durant, members of the Spring ISD Board, and Dr. Hinojosa. My name is the Reverend Dr. Jenny Brown Daniel, and I am a resident within Spring ISD. I have been attending your monthly board workshops and meetings since January. I have watched you deliberate on hard issues and celebrate great accomplishments within Spring ISD. You all are rock stars in the Spring community. Too often we rush through the busyness of our work without sometimes slowing down to say and hear thank you. So tonight, on behalf of the Spring community, I want to say thank you. During the past 2 years of an unprecedented pandemic, every school employee at Spring ISD went above and beyond the call of duty to not only educate our children in new ways, but to care for their emotional and physical needs as well. You should be given a ticker tape parade down FM 1960 for the ways that you and those sitting back here and those who are at home working on their lesson plans tonight, for the ways that you held our children and families together. Thank you. After the nightmare at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, you have taken seriously the safety of our children and educators. In fact, this morning I was at a public safety forum and they asked, what are the schools doing? And I very proudly shared about what Chief Culbreth was doing because I heard about it at an event this weekend, being trained and training others for Spring ISD. So thank you. You have a phenomenal school district. Dr. Hinojosa, you are the super proud superintendent, and you have been leading with integrity, wisdom, vision, and always with every child's needs at the core of what you do at Spring ISD. Thank you. Finally, to all of you, the Spring ISD board members, you strive each day to set policies of equity, not just in principle, but in action and goals. And for that, I say thank you. I acknowledge that Spring ISD isn't perfect, and we have important issues to discern for the future of our children, families, and community. I support you and want to work with you to continue to make Spring a destination of choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Brown Daniels, and we appreciate you as a community member and as a neighbor, your support on our bond committee and our voter registration day panelists and all of the support that you give us as well. I'd like to say thank you. Mr. Binkley, are there any other registered speakers?
No, Madam President, we have no other registered speakers tonight.
For our next item, I'd like to recognize our Chief of Schools, Dr. Miguel Perez.
Good evening, President Durant, Superintendent, and fellow trustees. Last week, we discussed in detail the targeted improvement plan. Specifically, we had Principal Brown from Bailey Middle School. We also had Principal Doucette from Dewitt Middle School, and they reviewed not only their plan, but also were able to entertain different questions with regards to this coming school year. Spring ISD will be submitting 3 targeted improvement plans, one for Bailey Middle School, one for Clonton Middle School, and one for Dewitt Middle School. As part of the requirements of this public hearing, a Spring ISD administration is requesting for the board to approve the targeted improvement plans for the 22-23 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Do we have anyone that signed up, Mr. Binkley, to speak, registered to speak at this public hearing for our tips?
No, Madam President, we do not.
As there are no speakers, we will continue with tonight's agenda. I'd now like to entertain a motion that the Board of Trustees approve the 2022-2023 targeted improvement plans as presented by the administration.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the 2022-2023 targeted improvement plans as presented by the administration.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Adams and seconded by Trustee Correa that the Board of Trustees approve the 2022-23 targeted improvement plans as presented by administration. Is there any discussion?
As I don't anticipate having to do this next year, I want to thank the administration and all the teachers and administrators for their hard work on this plan. And as I said, as I was thinking about this at the workshop, the real transparency about the challenges that we're facing and confronting those challenges head on and naming what it is and talking about it in real terms. I really appreciate that. I think that's what has helped us begin turning the corner. So I just wanted to acknowledge the efforts of everybody involved.
I will echo Trustee Adams' comments. I was very impressed with the schools acknowledging the problems they have, really looking at data and making practical, pragmatic plans to turn it around. So I really am very optimistic about this.
I always say awareness is our first step to change. When you name it and we claim it, then we can repair it. So really excited about the outcomes through our tip. Any other discussion? Then all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. For our next item, I'd like to recognize our Chief Financial Officer, Ann Westbrooks.
Thank you and good evening, President Durant, Dr. Hinojosa, and members of the board. Tonight, we'll discuss the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, which is commonly referred to as the School First Report. The law requires each school district to prepare an annual financial accountability report within 2 months of receiving the final ratings. Each school district must announce and hold a public hearing to distribute the results of this report. A copy of the report is in your packet starting on page 25. The School's First Report is a financial accountability rating system that holds school districts accountable for the quality of their financial management. It's designed to encourage better management of financial resources in order to provide the maximum allocation possible for direct instructional purposes. This rating system was used to assess our 2020-2021 fiscal year and consists of 20 base indicators that analyze the trends related to financial management efficiencies. The first 4 indicators are answered with either a yes or a no response. And if either of those 4 answers is no, that's an automatic failure of the report. The remaining indicators are assigned a point value. And also as a note, indicators number 5, number 10, and number 15 are not being scored this year. And so indicator number 5 has not been scored for the past few years. Indicator number 10 and number 15 are not being scored because those are related to things that were deemed as a result of the pandemic to be somewhat outside of the district's control. And so there was no penalty for those indicators. Indicator number 10 was related to the variance between budget and actual revenues. And as we all know, there were a lot of factors that were impacting district's revenues that were and largely beyond our control as a result of the pandemic. And then the indicator number 15 was related to average daily attendance, again, significantly impacted by the pandemic. So those 3 indicators are not being scored. So it's my honor to again announce that for the 2020-2021 fiscal year, Spring ISD did receive a rating of an A, which is superior achievement. And so that's something we're very proud of. I also want to make sure that we note that there are 6 required disclosures that are included towards the end of the report. And so those required disclosures are number 1, a copy of our current superintendent's employment contract. Number 2, reimbursements received by the superintendent and board members for fiscal year 2021. As a note, these reimbursements are related to travel on behalf of the district in the capacity as either the superintendent or you yourselves as elected officials. Number 3 is any outside compensation and fees that were received by the superintendent for professional or consulting or other personal services, which there are none to report. Number 4, a listing of gifts that were received from outside vendors by the board, superintendent, or their immediate family members. And again, there are none to report. Number 5 is a listing of any business transactions between our board members and the district, and there are none to report. And then lastly, number 6 is any additional information that we deem to be useful to our public, and there are none to report there as well. And so as always, in our district's efforts to continue to be good stewards of financial resources entrusted to us, and in an effort to be transparent, this report will be made available immediately on the district's financial transparency website.
Thank you, Ms. Westbrooks. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone registered to speak to this agenda item under public hearing?
No, Madam President, we do not.
As there are no identified speakers, let us continue with tonight's agenda. So our next item is reading of the trustees' continuing education hours. Under the Board of Education rule, completing requiring continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I am required to announce the name of each member who has completed the required continuing education, has exceeded the required continuing education, and or is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. The requirements for training are measured as of the first anniversary of the date of the trustee's election or appointed, or 2-year anniversary of his or her previous training as applicable. There are 8 training areas for the board members' continuing education. First is our local district orientation. Second is the orientation to the Texas Education Code. Third is our post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. Fourth is team building. Fifth is additional educational continuing education. 6 is evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. 7th is identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. And 8 is school safety training. To the extent applicable to each board member, I will announce the completion or deficiency as to required training. For the members who still have time remaining to complete required training, I will announce those board members who have scheduled timely training and those who have not yet scheduled the training. At the conclusion of this announcement, I will announce any board members training in excess of the continuing education requirement. The first one, it was the local district orientation. No new board members were required to complete the local district orientation training for the time period covered by this announcement. The second one was the orientation to the Texas Education Code. No new board members were required to complete orientation to the Texas Education Code training for the time period covered by this announcement. Third is the legislative update to the Texas Education Code. We had no new board members who were required to complete the post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code training for the time period covered by this announcement. Team building. The following trustees have completed the annual team building training: Dr. Deborah Jensen, Kelly P. Hodges, Justine Durant, Winford Adams Jr., Rhonda Newhouse, Carmen Correa, and Natasha McDaniel. Next is our additional continuing education. The following trustees have completed the additional continuing education requirements: Dr. Deborah Jensen, Kelly P. Hodges, Justine Durant, Winford Adams Jr., Rhonda Newhouse, Carmen Correa, and Natasha McDaniel. Our next one is the evaluating our student academic performance and setting district goals. The following trustees have completed the biannual training on evaluating our student academic performance and setting goals: Dr. Deborah Jensen, Kelly P. Hodges, Justine Durant, Winford Adams Jr., Rhonda Newhouse, Carmen Correa, and Natasha McDaniels. Next, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. The following trustees have completed the training on identifying and reporting abuse and trafficking: Dr. Deborah Jensen, Kelly P. Hodges, Justine Durant, Winford Adams Jr., Rhonda Newhouse, Carmen Correa, and Natasha McDaniel. School safety. The following board members have completed their training for school safety: Dr. Deborah Jensen, Kelly P. Hodges, Justine Durant, Winford Adams Jr., Rhonda Newhouse, Carmen Correa, and Natasha McDaniel. Exceeding required continuing education. Board member Deborah Jensen exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 39 additional hours. Board member Kelly P. Hodges exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 32.5 additional hours. Board member Justine Durant exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 39.25 additional hours. Board member Winford Adams exceeded required amount of continuing education training by 57.5 additional hours. Board member Rhonda Newhouse exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 59.25 additional hours. Board member Carmen Correa exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 40.25 additional hours. Board member Natasha McDaniel exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 56.5 additional hours. I want to thank you all of our board members for completing their continuing education hours and requirement, and it is my honor to serve with you. Great job, everybody. Now that's going above and beyond, and we got paid. We didn't get paid for it, right? Great job. Our next item tonight is the board audit committee update. And so at this time, the committee will provide any updates if they have any. And I'll ask trustee Newhouse if we have any tonight. We do not, right?
No, Madam President, we do not have any of us tonight.
Thank you. Our next item is the board governance committee. At this time, the committee will provide an update for any recent activities, and I will ask trustee Adams for that update. I'm sorry,
That's
talk
me.
trustee Deborah Jensen.
But it's a good mistake because trustee Adams delivered the last report in September while I was traveling, and I read the minutes. You did a fine job. Um, We have reorganized the times that the committees meet. So trustee Adams' report was on the last meeting we've had. And we are going to be meeting now, from now on the third Monday, which is next Monday. But because of the nature of our committee, we derive suggestions or concerns from, it can be the community, it can be administration, it can be other board members, and within our committee itself. So I'm going to go ahead and list some of the things that we have upcoming, and please notify me if you have other concerns that you would like us to address on the governance committee. First of all, we are going to be probably looking at board policy and personnel having to do with safety. When I went through that safety training, when we were just listing this, time and time again, it's specified certain parts of law that the board has to address or has to follow. And I just want to go over that and make sure we're in compliance. It became a concern of mine. The next thing is, we also want to look at, because Ms. McDaniel is online, she would have presented, because she is our Legislative Action Committee member. TASB has a set of advocacy agenda priorities that are they're open to anybody who wants to go on to TASB and say legislative priorities, and you'll see what theirs are. And I want to stress that Spring ISD develops their own. So it's nice to have TASB, it's nice to have suggestions from different organizations, but in the end, we are going to be picking our own legislative priorities with input from our own community. And the last thing I really, really want to stress is we need nominees for the Employee Excellence Award. When I look at the application, I just go on to the Spring ISD website. I put in the search box, Employee Excellence Award, and up pops the application. And it's it looks like a one-page application. If you know somebody is doing a wonderful job and is a natural leader and going above and beyond, please nominate those people so that we can notify them that they have our recognition and an award. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jensen. And anyone can nominate someone for the Board Excellence Award. A parent or any district employee, any community member can make that recommendation. So again, thank you, Dr. Jensen. Our next committee is our Board Equity Committee update, and this time I'll turn the meeting over to trustee Adams.
Thank you, President Durant. I want to echo that the bus driver that was just presented with an award, Ms. Miller, I would expect someone to nominate her for the Board Excellence Award. She demonstrated incredible leadership, and that's something that we want to promote throughout our system. We also did not meet because of the confluence of scheduling issues that we had in the last month. But what we are doing, and Ms. Westbrooks has taken the lead on this, is sort of exploring the issue of the per student analysis of budget items. And so that's the thing that we're looking at talking about in our upcoming meeting, and sort of looking at what that looks like and how that works so that we can bring a fuller report to the board.
Thank you, trustee Adams. And if everyone's wondering, we actually reevaluated how our committees meet because we have so many meetings. So each committee picked a Monday. So we're going to meet every Monday. And that starts next month. Our next item is our Board Community Engagement Committee, and I'm going to turn it over to trustee Hodges.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have a few announcements. We have not had a formal meeting since this month, because our meeting will be the fourth Monday of the month at 6 p.m. So we haven't met yet, but we do have some things that are in the works that are coming up relatively quickly. The Guidance and Counseling Department is hosting Every Mind Matters, which is an SEL social emotional learning summit for students. Students are going to participate in workshops that address emotional well-being, such as bullying and how to cultivate positive, healthy relationships. So our committee will support this event, and this is October 22nd at Booker Elementary School. So we're excited to participate in that event. And then also we're going to host a community resource fair on Saturday, November the 12th, and parents will have the opportunity to learn of services available to them in the community. And that's going to be from 9 to 12, and we have not confirmed a location as of yet, but we want to make sure that it will be a location that is convenient for our community. And then also we're partnering with the FACE department, the Family and Community Engagement Department, as we host our Community Outreach Day. So really encourage the community to come out on November the 5th. We're asking our staff, students, parents, and community members to join us as we volunteer at Northwest Assistance Ministries, NAM, from 9 to 12. And as you know, Northwest Assistance Ministries has been doing great work in our community for several decades, and we want to continue to support them as they continue to support our community. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you, Trustee Hodges. So our next item is the consent agenda. So I will now entertain a motion to approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda.
Need a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Newhouse and seconded by Trustee Correa that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? As always, we covered all these during the work session, but any additional? All right, hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. The Board of Trustees will now recess this open session and convene in a closed meeting in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 551.0821. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any actions the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in the closed meeting will take place after the board reconvenes in an open session, and the time is now 8:28 p.m. We will now reconvene and resume the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. The time is now 12:04 p.m. a.m. We will now address any items discussed during closed session. Are there any motions? Not hearing any. Given that there are no other items on tonight's agenda, I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Madam President, I move we adjourn.
Come on, second. Okay. It's been moved by Trustee Adams and seconded by Trustee Newhouse to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Given that there's no further business, this meeting is officially adjourned at 12:05 p.m. a.m. 12:05 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Good night.